old is this woman who's yelling at me?
18.
17 and a half. You are absolutely correct. She is screaming at me like I'm her pet. She is 17 years old. And how do I know that? She's got orange hair, skin tight. Now, look, my generation was very sexy. So I'm not going to start telling the kids they can't be sexy. We were sexy. But she's wearing the leggings. It looks like she's naked. I mean, it's just a skin tight. She's got nothing on. Her nose is in the phone, and she's yelling at me in the middle of a room full of people in a subway.
Wow. Hey, Ed, as long as she didn't yell out, "No sandwich for you."
No soup for you. No soup for you. No soup for you. Get out. Oh, please, I just want to. Get out. Get out. Elaine, get out. Elaine, get out. Elaine, get out. Don't fight with him. Just get out. Just get out. No soup for you. You no soup for 1 year. 1 year, no soup.
Jerry would tell George Costanza, "That's it. Go. Don't say nothing. Go.
Go. Just go. Don't start."
I didn't get my bread.
I love when
no soup, no sandwich for you, no soup for you.
That's it. But he didn't give me the bread. Just go, George. Don't bring up the bread. But where's my? I want my bread. I love George. George is so cheap. That's the thing about George. George is like me. He's so cheap that it's not about how much money extra. It's the principle of the thing. You say, well, George, all I did was charge you $5 for a $3 item. That's a 66% overcharge. I love that. I love that show.
Ed, I want to bring this other topic to you, and I think you're the man that could handle this. I'm watching TV today, and I see Lester Holt. I think he's going to do an interview with this girl. I don't know if you're familiar with her, Amanda Knox.
Yeah, that girl from the girl from Italy. She got in trouble in Italy, and she went back to Italy, I believe, earlier this year. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what upsets me about this girl? I was looking on the internet and stuff, and they're perceiving her as to be some girl that had the whole universe on her thing because she was held in Italy on this murder charge. But if you go back and look at the dialogue of what transpired in that case, when she was first interviewed, she says she's in the house. She doesn't know what happened. She's spaced out on drugs. She doesn't know whether she killed was it part of it and stuff. And then all of a sudden, she gives all this at the police station, and she changes her mind. She says the owner of the restaurant she works at did it, and come to find out the guy wasn't even there. He ended up suing her for he got about $50,000 from her. And NBC is putting on this big to-do that she's a Miss Innocent bystander.
Is that what this is about? Is that what this is about? Like they're going to have her on again to say she's some kind of victim? I mean, you're absolutely right. That's how they treated her the first time. Now, look, I wasn't there, but I remember a lot of what you just referred to. So my recollection then seems like it's going to be unchanged in the present tense because I don't think, look, American justice was the big outrage, right? We're innocent till proven guilty. OJ gets away with it. A lot of people get away with it. So when people feel like ASAP Rocky recently, it was going to be the same way. They keep you in jail preemptively. They have different laws in America. So when people see a different justice system, they automatically go nuts. Now, ASAP Rocky, I didn't think he was that innocent, but I understand why he felt he was, because he was saying over the course of the evening, the guy's been breaking our bones, and we're finally, it's unavoidable. I don't know. ASAP Rocky, I think, could have got out of there. But her case, they went nuts because it was a murder case. It was capital crime. Yeah, so to me, it's a big charade based on the media stereotype that she seems to fulfill, right?
Yeah. Well, what pisses me off about her is when she went back to Italy, she started she's going to get married to some guy, and she goes put the GoFundMe page up, and she wants money for her wedding. She wants what people to donate to her wedding because she said she has no money.
I love this, right? Exactly. They should change the name of that website to something else. I don't want to say it, but you know what I mean. Instead of GoFundMe, you should say something else because that used to be to help people who were desperate. Now it's for scam jobs all over the place. I would never crowdfund anything. Anyway.
So anyway, she's her job supposedly she must have wrote a book. Now she's an author.
Oh, that's what it is. All right, okay.
And she's going to do a movie now.
Okay.
And you know what? I have to think about, how about the girl that got killed? The girl that when she went back to Italy, she had the nerve to go back to Italy to go do some, I don't know if it was a pay gig to go over there and talk for some social justice thing. But the poor girl that got killed in there, in that house that she was in.
Right.
What about her?
Listen, that's a great, that's one of my favorite topics, man. That's why I enjoy your phone calls all the time, Bobby. Thank you. I got to run. You're absolutely right. You know what? We're not done with that topic. You and I are going to talk more about that, and I thank you for alerting us to the Lester Holt. The Lester Holt thing, by the way, do you know when that is, or has that already been shown?
I don't know. It might be sometime this weekend. I don't know. They have. He was on this morning talking to her, saying they've got an interview coming, and then they said something about on today. I wasn't really paying too much attention, but it just pissed me off the time when I see she's got a GoFundMe page.
Right.
And she's telling the people, I need this for my wedding, I need that for my wedding. You know what? She should have a GoFundMe page to have for the girl's family, the girl that got killed.
I hear you, man. That's, I'm not saying this to flatter you, man. I love having you call the show, but I am going to say that you just pointed out, that is a human dimension. Again, back to my discussion today about talk radio with other people very much enthusiastic about it. This is what's missing. We got too much verbal ping pong on the radio that doesn't have a human dimension. Now, sometimes it's compassion, but sometimes it's wisdom and common sense, and it's somebody recognizing, don't lie to me. Don't make a fool out of me. It's free speech. It's a million media outlets. Every cockamamie idea and person will now for sure get their guarantee of 15 minutes of fame, right? Andy Warhol. But you and I, we're the human dimension. That's what we do. All right, Bobby. Bobby in Federal Hill, Providence, Rhode Island. Thank you for the call. It's the Ed Tyll Show.
May not like what he has to say. He's gonna say it anyway. Ed Tyll.
All right, 917-310-1976. Easy, call it on your cell. If you are, it's funny, we mentioned this today, the new website. It was a beginning of the week. It was crazy. That website, we did not really announce a lot of it. But I guess people are looking us up on Google. And I believe that my web builder, Starlin Tejada, is that a great name? I wish my name was Starlin Tejada. That sounds like I don't know what, but it sounds like a conqueror, right? It sounds like a guy from history who rode in with an army and took a continent back from some kind of corruption or whatever.
Go ahead and make 'em.
But he's a great website builder. He's so good that what happened was he put all that good SEO on there, search engine stuff. So we surged with people. So we had so many people coming to the website to listen to the show that the website crashed earlier in the week. So here's what we got. First of all, we're back up and we're sounding terrific. But we also now are running a backup, so that can't happen again. Look at us. I came home and I said, how do we do this now? How do we manage?
We can
I said, I've never had this responsibility before. A website has too many people coming to it. And the other thing is, we were talking about this in the meeting today. See, it all ties in. Arthur and I were talking about it, actually. Time spent listening. This category of show, a radio show like this one, it tends to keep people listening longer, okay? And time spent listening is very high. So that puts a lot of extra pressure on your website. Your website is used to people hitting it, doing a couple of things, and skedaddling. With us, they come to the website and they stay. So we got the message, America, we hear you. We will have an app. And once we have the Tyll app, then we won't have the surge problem because they come to you in more than, as if I know what the hell I'm talking about. What I'm saying is the app will help us accommodate more surging of listeners. We had the Alice Cooper guys on a couple of Fridays back, and they busted our website traffic meter. We took in more than we could handle. So that's been opened up. So we even have a bigger capacity in the last 3.5 weeks since it was Dennis Dunaway of Alice Cooper. They tour as billion-dollar babies when Alice is not with them. But of course, Alice goes to Chiller Theater a couple of years ago, and there I am, Tyll, in the same hallway with Alice frickin' Cooper. Yeah, man. But that's all thanks to Pat Horgan, because Horgan has been in charge of Chiller Theater's entertainment for, I don't know, more than a decade. Oh, she's yelling at me in that subway. She's yelling at me. What are you yelling at? Look, I'm dissatisfied with the service, but I didn't say anything.
Everybody.
Tyll. All right, this could be him. This could be the big guy. Who is it?
Hey, hi, this is Lon.
Oh,
how are you?
Lon, what a pleasure. Thank you. The other day we had quite a phone call, but it was a three-way deal. So, I'm looking forward to hearing from you anytime. What's on your mind today? Great to hear your voice, though.
Well, you know what? I had wanted to talk to you about weddings. Do you recall? I think Rob might have mentioned to you that I do weddings, and he said, I think Ed would really be interested in hearing something about that, and so I'm here, and I can tell you.
Fascinating. This is hilarious because I'll tell you why. The coincidence, I should say, is hilarious. Not you doing weddings, that I love, but here's the hilarious coincidence. Okay.
Okay.
Only moments ago, I was talking about slaving over this website that I'm working. And it's a beautiful website. I love it. But it took a lot to get it there. And when I was doing the website the other night, there's a page where you hire me. I am a professional MC. I'm a professional stand-up comedian, and I'm a professional public speaker on issues of journalism. I've won awards from UPI, etc. So we were doing on the website how you pitch all of this so that when people are on the site, they can have you for this and have you for that. Now, when I do a wedding, I'm the host. I speak on behalf of the family. I introduce I usher the evening through. What do you do when you do a wedding? Are you a photographer, or what is your thing at the wedding?
Well, I actually perform the ceremony. I'm married.
Oh, wow! You actually do the. So, what is your title as the officiator?
Well, I'm an officiant. Okay, I'm a wedding officiant. And I'm a professional wedding officiant. I've been doing it for years. I've married thousands of people. Thousands of couples.
Now, I got a million questions about this. Is this a jurisdictional? This is like within your town, state, county?
Well, I'm a Florida notary.
So I can perform weddings anywhere in the state of Florida.
No kidding. No, hold on.
yeah.
Hold on. Now, wait a second. I love this. So when you book, you could be booked to even two on a weekend. How far away will you go to officiate? What's your driving distance or travel distance?
Well, Ed, it's evolved over the years. When we first started our company back 12 years ago, I would go anywhere. I would go to Jacksonville. I'd go to Vero Beach. I live in Orlando. And so I would go just about anywhere to do a wedding. The West Coast, East Coast, didn't matter. But as our company evolved, we started hiring people in those areas because, frankly, I got tired of traveling. So I just go from Champions Gate to Lake Mary. Okay, and everything in between. So, for instance, today I'll be in a Apopka for a wedding later on today.
Oh, the Apopka. Haven't been to a Apopka in forever. Now, may I just impose on you, are you on a speakerphone?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay, because I get a little echoey on. Can you change locations maybe? Different side of the room, different room? I'm getting a lot of echo on you, yeah.
Oh, okay, sure. Now, I'm on my headset. Hold on.
Oh, that's what I mean. Yeah, maybe you can, right.
Let me take it off the headset.
There you go. Okay. Oh, goodness gracious, you sound amazing.
Okay,
right,
how is that?
Oh,
that
fantastic.
Better?
Yeah, it's like you're in the room now. So,
okay, good.
Beautiful. So, walk us through. So, you have an Apopka wedding. Oh, gosh, you must have so many stories. You started doing this a while ago. So, This is fantastic. All right, well, what's your upcoming gig? What do we know about your upcoming Apopka marriage? Do you know the location? Are you doing it in a church? Will it be in a backyard? What are we doing?
Okay, so mostly I do non-church weddings because a lot of people that go to church, they have their own minister doing it and so forth. But there are ample opportunities for someone like me, as a professional wedding officiant, to step in.
I love that. Don't you love the word? I've never heard that word in my life, and I love how you say it. And I'm still getting the word now after maybe the fourth or fifth time. I believe the word is officiant, as one who is one who officiates is an officiant. That is such an awesome word. We were talking about vocabulary earlier. Who's ever? I'll guarantee you, everybody I know has never used the word officiant, and I'm going to be the first one this weekend. So, where does
That's amazing. That's congratulations.
I love this.
Great.
Come on, I love that word. I love spelling. I love conjugation. So, what is the? You get a certificate. What is the documentation of an officiant?
Okay, so in Florida, various types of people can conduct wedding ceremonies.
Mm-hmm.
Ministers, priests, rabbis, officiants, notaries. I'm a notary.
Right. See, that's what we think of. In the old days, we would think City Hall or a notary is the non-church venue. Right.
Right. Correct. Okay. So now around Orlando, which you can imagine is one of the largest wedding markets in the country, because we have all these visitors coming in. And in fact, for instance, yesterday I did a wedding with people from Ireland. Earlier in the week, I married people from Great Britain.
Now you're cooking, baby. Now you're cooking with gas. That's the stuff I like. So you're getting at an international experience there, like the crowd, their friends, their family, with the accents and the food around you. Oh man, I'm loving this. I should do this. Can you do it?
You should do it. You have the voice.
You know what I should do though? I sign up for I do one a year, and then you know what I mean. I just put my toe in the water. But I would love to be that efficient. I just love saying that word. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful word, and you know what's really nice about it is that when you're standing in front of people and you're doing this wedding ceremony. And I can tell you a little bit about how that all evolves. But when you're standing there and you're doing this wedding ceremony, you're part of their lives. You see the tears. You see the smiles. You see the nervousness. You see everything. You're part of their life right there. That is the most intimate thing that two people can ever do, right? They stand in front of each other and they say, I want to marry you. I'm going to be there for you. I'm going to support you. I'm going to take care of you. Those are words that go back thousands of years. And so it's an amazing thing. And, there's a handful of people in Orlando that do this full time, a lot of people with even more experience than me. So it's a joyful
Well, now
thing.
here's what occurs to me, right? Like, I'm thinking as I'm imagining the scene, what would make a great officiant versus an okay C plus, kind of a lukewarm. He's all right, but this guy's fantastic. He did our wedding. You got to get him. How was your? Well, we had an officiant. He was all right. It wasn't anything. Oh no, man, our guy was. You got to call this dude. What makes a great officiant? I got to believe that part of you have to have a little romance in your soul. You got to access what the day is about. You got to get the day. You're standing in the middle of a very big thing for them. So they got to keep that perspective. Well, I mean, I'm just saying, a lot of guys phone it in. And you can tell, well, I mean, you've even seen this with ministers over the course of your life. You can tell the minister's not into it. It's 4 o'clock. He wants to go take a nap or he wants to watch college football on Saturday afternoon. Okay, all right, very nice. Yeah, okay, goodbye. And it doesn't feel warm. You are, I think, an expressive guy. We've talked a number of times. You're very good as a communicator. I would imagine that's part of the skill set, right? To be empathetic and...
Very much so. In fact, I always tell people that I perform their ceremony. I don't conduct it. Now, Ed, ministers minister. Okay, in my position with my company, I've had the opportunity to interview, hire, and train many ministers that work for our company. Okay, and I can tell you that ministers, just because they're a minister, doesn't mean they can officiate weddings, that they're good at it. Okay, so you asked me a key question, and it's the same. I can hear the fervor and excitement in your voice when you talk about any topic at all. Okay, and the same applies to being an officiant. If you're an officiant, you have to be good at it. You don't want to stand there and look at your book and read. You don't want to be unemotional. You want to connect with the bride and groom. You want to look them in the eye. You want to talk to them about the vows that they're taking and the important things that they're facing in their life.
There you go. Right. You got to get into that very sacred space for them, for them.
Exactly.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah. And the ceremony is custom. So in other words, they pick the things that they like in their ceremony. They elect their items that they're going to have in their ceremony. I provide materials, and they can go through it and check the things that they like, and they send me their ideas. And then I'll make suggestions. So what we end up with is their story, the things that they want to talk about during the ceremony.
Oh, look at you now. So you're really helping them with the... kind of creating a narrative. Isn't that the popular phrase people love to have? What's the narrative? What is it? And you're helping them create that.
Right, correct. Yeah. And so then it just flows. When you're doing it and you believe in it and you like it and you want to do it, that's what comes through. Okay. So for instance, I did a wedding yesterday. And I got a note from the bride and groom last evening, and they said, "Boy, you just did a fantastic job. Thank you for being part of our life."
Right.
Yeah, that is the equivalent of $1,000 tip.
Oh, of course, right.
That word. That statement says, "Hey, you've done a good job." Then they went on the net and they placed a review on the net for me, which is also worth, as you know, being a performer, worth a fortune, right?
Big time. You guys are killing me today. Everybody who's been on the show is mentioning things that I have been doing all week. The other night at 2 o'clock in the morning, this is very important. We got to put the testimonials in. The printed Chicago Tribune, Ed Till's great. L.A. Times, the Ed Till Show is very good. And we're looking for the quote. Then we're going back and forth. What about, we had one article that was big, and we're like, which quote? And then you want to pick the shortest one, and you want to pick the right. Oh my God, it's such a big deal. Now, years ago, a performer never engaged in this. This all went on some other room. The performer just performed, and the other. But today, you have to engage because it's a different world now. Everything is hands-on, and people love this. They love personal attention, and
Right.
who doesn't love that? I love that.
Yeah, and you have the internet. Of course, years ago, hey, listen, when you and I were at the beginning of our careers, and I haven't been in a wedding officiant all my career. This is my second career, but I traveled. I traveled all over, and I never even had a telephone. I'd have to carry quarters, and
Oh my
stop
God!
at,
Remember? I remember dimes. I remember carrying dimes for the phone. Like
Absolutely.
Frank Sinatra
Yeah.
told that to Nancy when Nancy started to date. You got your dimes because
Right.
Sinatra
Yeah.
wanted to make sure she could go to any payphone and say, "Dad, he's a creep. Come and get me." Yep.
That's right.
Dimes.
And my wife tells that story all the time. Her father would give her enough money.
Right.
He used to tell her, listen, if you go on a date
Yep.
and you run into trouble,
Yep.
you have enough money to call a taxi, and you tell them when they drop you off, I'm going to give them a big tip. Okay? And she had enough money in her purse to take care of that.
That's it. Do you know what?
Yeah.
What? My mom and her sister Adeline, who is still alive, Adeline is at 96. Do you know what they did with that money? The money you just talked about for the cab, the emergency skedaddle fund.
No. What did they do?
They tied it in a handkerchief. It was in a knot in a handkerchief at the bottom of their purse. Because you know what
Isn't
else
that
it was?
something?
You know what else it was? If
A
somebody,
weapon.
So
It's
if
a
somebody
weapon.
if somebody tried to kiss them, somebody makes a move for your
Boom.
boobies or
Hit
your
'em.
mouth, you whack them with that thing and your cab fare, and you are gonski.
You're good.
These women, those women were not victims. I mean, no, I don't want to blame. Yeah, that's terrible. I should take that back. Anybody could be a victim no matter what. But I'm telling you, they were ready to fight. You weren't going to mash them. It used to be called a masher. Someone who would try to kiss you was a masher. They weren't going to get mashed, these Divisio
Right.
girls. They were the Divisio girls. Yeah.
That's right. That's amazing. That's a great story. Yeah, and now, of course, though, everything you do today, you do something. Tomorrow, it's nationwide news because you can't
Absolutely.
stop it.
Right.
So you have to be careful. So that goes back to the reviews. That goes back to the
very
blogging.
important. Very, very important.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Mm-hmm. Now I can tell you a story. Okay, I was thinking about this, and I thought, oh, you might enjoy this story.
Yeah.
So I'm at a place called the Orlando History Center a few years ago. Okay, and there's a courthouse there, and it's the first courthouse in Orlando. It's historic, and Ted Bundy actually was tried there.
Seriously?
Okay,
all right. I should know a little bit of this. Okay, thank you for that update. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, there's actually a desk there where he was sitting, where he carved his name in. Now they have it covered over with glass, and you can go look at it. So I mean, it's a historic place. But you go into the courthouse, and there's a jury section. Okay, so I was doing this. I was going to do a wedding there. Okay, in this historic court.
Right. Beautiful backdrop for the ceremony.
Beautiful
right,
backdrop.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And so the family came in, and the immediate family, and they sat in the jury box. Okay. So before the thing got started, I walked over to them, and I couldn't resist. I said, I contend today that before we leave this room, you're going to believe that these two people need to be married. And Ed, you obviously, I'm sure you got the humor in that because they were sitting in the jury box. They stared back at me with blank eyes.
Oh boy! Right. Flatliner. Yep.
Yeah, but and then to top it all off, the grandmother came to me right before I started. And she said, "I have in my house a doll, and I have pins."
Oh, no.
And I'm going to name that doll after you.
Oh, my
if you don't do a good wedding, and I'm
Wow.
going to stick it with pins.
Yeah,
So
you're
I
going to be
said,
voodooed. You're going to be voodooed at home
That's
by
right.
grandma.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly. Talking about pressure. So I went up to her after, and then of course she was bawling her eyes out. I said, "How did I do?"
Right.
She said, "Oh, you did great. You did great." And I said, "Well, are you going to stick pins in that doll? I'm very concerned." No, I'm not going to do that. It was beautiful. So I have
Look at you. What a review that is. I choose not to voodoo doll him. That's how good he is. I was going to stick pins, but I'm not. Yeah,
that's right.
You're no longer pin worthy. Now, can I share with you something I've completely forgotten, but you just reminded me? All right, so I'm on the air in 1997, and a guy comes in the studio and he goes, hey, do you know there's a website called beatupedtill.com? I said, no, what are you talking about? It was a cartoon character. And if you disagreed with me, I would get a black eye. Then if you disagreed with me, I would get a punch in the nose. And it was hilarious that your voodoo pins were happening online. They were voodoo pinning me. And this is the earliest, we're talking 97 websites, right? That's when websites were brand new. Yeah.
That's right.
So there you go. So we're all really at the verge of being voodoo pinned. Beaten up anytime. You know what I mean? They can have us anytime. We're at the mercy of the review of the public. Yeah, it's fine with me. It's a fair bargain.
If you don't comb your hair right, you're going to get voodoo pinned.
Hey, you know what? Speaking of hair, this is another one. With the hair, you get a lot of comments now when you're on the video stream. Years ago, you could do radio as ugly and smelly as you felt like being. Not that I was, but there were a lot of guys in the industry coming in sweatpants every day, because it was all microphone. But now everything is visual.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, I enjoy it. I like it. They tell me all the time. You look like this. Watch out for your hair. What happened? They say, "What?" A guy says the other day, "What happened to your hair?" And I wrote back to him, on the Facebook. I wrote back. I go, nothing. That's my hair. Like, my hair looks like, what happened to your hair? Right, that's the kind of hair I have. I have hair that's different every day. If it's humid, it does parts on one side. If it's curly and it's dry outside. I have the worst hair for rock and roll. And I wanted to be a rock star when I was a kid. I was disqualified at the barbershop. I said to my barber, Al, Al, could I have long hair? He goes, you don't want to have long hair with your kind of hair. I said, what do you mean? I said, but I want to join the Beatles, the Who. He says, you don't want it. He says, you're going to find a nice short haircut. I said, I don't want a short haircut. He gave me the Girl from Uncle's sidekick's haircut. There was the Girl from Uncle on TV, and Noel Harrison, the son of Rex Harrison, the famous guy, was on the show, and he had the mushed down Caesar cut, but it looked messy. And Al gave me that. He goes, "That's rock and roll for you, messy."
I can visualize that haircut.
That's it.
As a matter of fact, I might have had that haircut.
You might have had it, right? Because if you had if you had the wrong hair in 1965, there was just no way around it. Like, you stare at the mirror. Like, I remember asking my mom one day. I said, "When it gets longer, does the weight straighten it out?" And she goes, "No, Edward, it's going to be long and curly." I said, well, I don't like it because it doesn't come down, Mom. I said, it goes out and it comes up like Bozo. I said, I look like Bozo, the clown. She goes, well, that's the kind of... She goes, talk to Al, the barber. And that's why I talked to Al, and that's when Al said to me, forget it. You have to be Caesar.
Well, listen, I have several thoughts about what you just said. Now, I think I might have mentioned to you.
Oh my
I'm from
God,
Pittsburgh,
you are the
right?
best. Yes, we talked about we're both from Pittsburgh.
So
right,
I can remember in that time frame that you just mentioned, maybe a few years later, maybe 71.
Yeah, 70. Right.
Yeah, walking down the street in Pittsburgh with clodhoppers on, yellow bell-bottom pants, and a flowered shirt.
That's it.
With long hair and long sideburns.
Oh my.
And I thought I was cool. And I want to tell you something. I now wake up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat thinking that I looked like that. And I hope there's not a photograph anywhere of me looking like that.
Were you Mutton Chop Charlie there? You had the big old mutton chops?
Oh, my God. I was right in there, and I enjoyed it.
I love
thank God I matured.
When sideburns become a de facto beard, that's when you've got some chops on there, man. When they just come like, full dimension, they're
all the way
sweeping down your jawbone now. Yeah. Love all that.
Yeah. Well,
did you ever go with the Bolshevik revolutionary look? I did that for 1 year. I had the long curly hair blended into the full beard, and then the full beard got thick, and it looked like I was trying to get into the Kremlin. And my dad says to me, he goes, what are you trying to do? Overthrow the government? He goes, what's this look? I said, what are you talking about? He says, I don't know what the hell are you trying to do? He says, from a half a block away, the FBI is going to be looking at you. I said,
they're looking at you.
I said,
you weren't mentally mature at that time.
Oh, forget, me. A woman said to me on the air, we had a guest the other day. She goes, well, you weren't political when you were a little boy. I said, oh, yes, I was. I said, I was arguing for Nixon in 68. I was 12, and I was arguing with Tom Treglia at the candy store about Nixon. Oh, I was very serious. So my dad says, you look like a Bolshevik revolutionary. And about 2 days later, I said, something, I'm not doing this for my dad. I said, but I really don't want to look like a Bolshevik. And I got rid of the beard off of my dad, saying I look like one of those guys.
Yeah, it was probably a very good decision that you made.
Yeah. Oh, I have. You know what? Yeah. I'm on the front page of the college newspaper at one of those forums that really is scary to look at. I do look like trouble in that one photo, but now that was my dad. My dad was giving me a heads up. Yeah, my dad was very good about that. Give you a heads up, and then you do what you want to do.
Right.
Anyway. Yep. Friday.
Well, yeah, it is Friday. I'm going to be in Apopka this evening.
Yeah, so you go to Apopka. Yeah. Now, what about the dinner? What do they call it? There's a dinner that
reception.
Yes. Well,
reception.
No, that's after the wedding. What about the dinner before, where you get to meet the wedding party?
They usually have a rehearsal. If they have a rehearsal,
that's the one, right? You don't have to go to that, right? You don't go to that.
No. I do rehearsals, but I don't do.
Now, do the women ever get frisky with you? The one single sister-in-law. She goes to every wedding, and then she starts chatting you up, and you're like, all right, take it easy there, Barbara. I'm just here. I'm the efficient, I'm not. Do you ever once in a while get a little interest in you from a single female who's in attendance?
Thousands of times a week. No, I'm just kidding. No. Listen, I'm a married man. I've been married for 47 years.
What?
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, 47 years. And so, I don't get that, but I always get the person who's in a bridal party that thinks they know more. They say, I've been in 3 weddings. I know exactly what to do.
Yes.
Yeah, and so there's always that.
Do you tell them? Do you make it plain to them that you're grateful? Thank God they're there, because you wouldn't. That's what I always do. Whenever I'm emceeing somewhere and the guy's going to tell me how to MC, I go, "Thank you so much for telling me this." Oh yeah, you just want to follow what I tell you. And what are you going to do? It's their party. You do it.
That's right.
That's it. It's there. I did a what do you call it? A museum like that. I did a gala museum. They hardly used me. I showed up gorgeous. I got a brand new suit. I got my hair cut 2 days before. I saved my beard and then shaved. So I had like a perfect and I'm all ready to go. And every time they're giving me an assignment, the guy who runs the museum says, all right, I'll do this one. You do the next one. And then I'm ready to go. And I have a script of the whole evening. I think I did 1/3 of my script. So, it's their party. I love Christmas parades. You ever do a Christmas parade? You ever see the things where you get the kids and if you ever went to a Christmas parade when you were a kid, they're the best. Santa's coming, jingle, jingle. Oh, when I do a Christmas parade, they got 99 instructions. Oh, don't do this. Don't look that way. Careful. And I go, well, I think I have it now. I always thank them profusely because I want them to believe that was worthwhile. It was a lot of work on their part, so I don't want to diminish it in any way, but it's hilarious because you say, well, you really didn't need me. You obviously could have done all this.
Yeah.
Anyway,
you bring up a great point. And there's everybody has something to offer, right? It's like there's this book, The Celestine Prophecy. Have you ever read it?
My God, how many years ago, though? That's going back a ways. Yes.
It's at least 20 years.
At least,
and it's by a guy by the name of Redmond. But then he had a couple follow-up books. But I always looked at that book as being like kind of a guiding light for relationships, because the Celestine Prophecy, the basic message in the Celestine Prophecy was that if you look hard enough, every person that you come in contact with has a message for you. There's a reason for them interacting with you. And if you're attuned to that, you're going to learn and grow.
I love this. You bring it up one of my favorite conundrums in the history of all thought. How is it possible, to your mind's limits, because I know I stretch my mind on a daily basis. It's very, I need to stretch it. How could this be laid out in a way that a billion people can't even get a sip of water and a ton of people are like Caligula today? How do we have a billion poor and then See, today everybody wants to be Caligula. Back in the Roman Empire, you had 3 or 4 of these people because they were the apex. Today, Justin Bieber's, they're all Caligulas. So super and self-indulged, endless money, endless narcissism, endless navel-gazing. Then you get in a plane. You land 8 hours later, they can't get a sip of clean water. So I always ask myself, what kind of plan would this be? If this is not random on a rock, hurtling through space in a minute window of water and temperature, I don't know what it is. Who would plan? What do you think the plan is when you look at that huge circumference of planet Earth and everybody's simultaneous experience? What do you see there? Show me. I am so open to what you are saying.
The other night, I was thinking about. It sounds like we have dinner together or something. Because the other night, I was just thinking about exactly what you're talking about, and you know, it was like in the middle of the night. I had one of these nights where my mind was going, and I was thinking. You know how they say we're such a small planet. We're all connected. The more we know, the smaller we get. The more aware we are of what's happening around the world. We're just all on this little ball, you know, and it's very small. Now, how did this disparity happen? I don't know, but I'll tell you what.
Well, not so much how did it happen. What leads you to believe that there's any system at work? What are the telltale signs to you? You personally vest in these observations that speak to you. Something's going on here. I can see.
Well, yeah, there are key people out there that are billionaires. Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Clooney and his wife, George Clooney and his wife, Bono. There are some people out there that are really amazing people and give so much. Even Prince Harry and his new wife, Meghan, they have charities. They go out and they spend their time and they minister to the poor and the underprivileged. And there are people out there trying to get water to Africa and some of these other places.
All right, but let me ask a tough question, okay? Because I hear you, and I, as a child, again, part of my moral upbringing was to appreciate exactly what you just laid out. These extraordinary efforts to address dire conditions, right? We're not just talking about a little tough, dire conditions, and that the rich have to step up with their wealth and make a statement with the wealth. Right? It's got to be.
Right.
Okay. And despite all, I would say the tough question is, even with all of that, it is a spit in the bucket. We've got more in poverty than ever. And no one can swear that the tub is filling with water or it's emptying. So we're not really sure if we're getting at it. We do know that the polarity of it, the number of people on land that is not arable, that it can't grow on, no access to a clean river, that can be generations of deprivation. It can be. Now, when they break out, they get some kind of education. But usually, in order to get past that, they rarely get past it where it's happening. They land in Europe, they land in America, Canada, some kind of Western hook, and then they, shimmy into Western civilization, but rarely does their origin improve? If we look at a list of what I was in 8th grade in our student messenger, again, this is all Catholicism, right? They would take collections. We would get a cardboard box, and we put nickels and pennies in it. The nun would come and get it from us on Friday, and that was our thing. It was going to go to this country. Biafra was big when I was a kid, the hungry kids in Biafra. So when you look at the big picture, the Bill Gates, the Buffetts, the MacArthur Foundation, Genius Grants, I mean, there's been a lot of philanthropy, no question. And even the old guys in the old days, a lot of philanthropy out of the Rockefellers, out of the Vanderbilts. But
Carnegie's.
Carnegie's, thank you. So all of that hasn't broken through. So is it conscience assuaging, or is it like the other day? I love his mom. You know, she passed away, Princess Diana. You know, my age, I love that girl. I remember the day she married that puss over there. I didn't want her to marry him. It looked like she got out of him a lot more fun. She should have married Ringo or somebody from.
She was way too
much
he was
fun for
hitting
him.
a grand slam.
He was just a crab, and she was wanted to have fun. She wanted to bring joy. She thought she was going to put him in a good mood. Yeah, she had no idea what she was in for. So the other day, Harry is walking the path of his mother's landmine campaign. He's got the cage on in case they trigger. And I said the same thing in the living room. I turned around to my cute little girlfriend there, and I said, you know, what's happening here? Now, I'm getting old, and we're still with the landmines. Don't you guys get it? Because, you know, she couldn't vote for Trump, and she's, you know, the world has to be made nice and patty cake. And I said, but you guys got to understand, this is not, no cute girl from England walking around is going to stop what's going on in the world. This is a little narcissistic. I mean, we haven't really found, no genius has come to get the clean water to where they're thirsty, not keep putting them on rafts and sending them to Paris and London and New York. That's not the answer for the planet. But that bothers me a great deal. It suggests to me that maybe we're anthropomorphizing, you know, projecting a positive paternal order of things because deep down we're terrified at how it looks. So I don't know. I love the question. This is why I love to think about it out loud, because I think it's worthwhile thinking about, right?
Yeah, you know, what scares me, and it's totally related to what you're talking about here. What scares me most right now about current events, what's going on in the world, around the world, is that these things that you're talking about are going to get worse because people in those impoverished countries are going to find that they're going to be dealing with more arid conditions.
All right, well, you're right about that. But I do want to offset. But let me offset about the bleak future. No, here's what I believe. I believe that little Mark Zuckerberg did let us down. He's a squat, nothing, flatline zero. He did squat for the world. Zero, nothing. I don't care how many grandchildren are seen on Facebook. He did nothing. What he should have done with that intellect is what we're talking about. So what I believe is that Generation Z is going to do it. They're going to get excited about, you ready? You got to make money doing this. Somebody else, like Bill Gates got rich off of what? Doing a spreadsheet. He's no genius. It's a spreadsheet. The biggest thing about Microsoft is Excel. So one idea, the guy, it's like one hit wonder. He's been singing that song, and it made him billions. I get that. I'm not diminishing his money. I'm saying let's raise the bar on these guys. Tech people are too narcissistic. They're too plain Jane in what they do with their tech. They're geniuses with the code, but making a dating service or showing me grandma's a puppy dog, that's not worthy of a genius. That was a genius when Eastman Kodak figured out how to make a picture. But reinvention doesn't do well in the Ed Tyll value department. I'm not interested in a new one of these. I'm interested in what we're just talking about. Show me how the smartest people in the world got that elderly woman a glass of clean water.